Okay, we are recorded 8 o'clock straight up, December 27, 2016. And before I begin, I want everybody to know that I'm not making any income guarantees. Tonight's presentation is just an example of income based on the comp plan. Your success is going to be dependent on what you do, and there is no purchase requirement to get involved. And now if anybody has any questions, please feel free at the bottom of your browser. You'll see a little area for chat. You can click on that, and you can put any questions you want into it, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And what I want to do tonight, I really want to cover a little bit about goal setting. And then for those of you who have access to the betterlifecoop.net site, you can go ahead and check out. We've got a whole lot of training information on that site that can teach you how to properly structure your business, give you some little techniques and some ideas on what you can do to get your business off to a fast start. And again, Marketing 101, got the pattern, the system, and then all the recorded events or the broadcast that we do are on the live event. You can click here for more recorded presentations. I got some, I got to mute here. 1 second. There we go. Okay, I think I got everybody muted. And again, if you got questions, please feel free to just go ahead and put them in the little chat area in the bottom. And what I want to talk about tonight is we're finishing up in 2016. We're getting ready to kick off 2017. Of course, it's always a good idea to have goals. And one of the things that I have found when I sit down and talk with people about setting goals, most people don't have a good understanding of how to go about setting them. And Jack Canfield, who's the author of Chicken Soup of the Soul, he's done a really, really good audio series on helping people get the mindset for goal setting. And I love what Jack said. He said, one of the challenges that we have in goal setting is once they teach you the principles, to know what your purpose is, know what your dreams are, to know what your goals are, putting your game plans together, where you've got to have focus to put into the plan of action. And what happens with most of us, he said, we have too many things going on in our life, so we haven't found ourselves able and to do the proper to pay the proper attention to the things that needs to be paid attention to. And he says you have only so many attention pegs in your brain. And he said, so he said, for example, if you have to focus on a particular area and if all your attention units are full, he said, what happens is you never really focus. And he said, the first thing you got to do, he said, you got to clean up your past. He said, you got to clean up your attention units so you can focus. And so, and we teach in goal setting, you need to know what your purpose is. And a lot of administrative technologies talks about staying on purpose. Well, purpose is the purpose of your existence. So, why are you, what's your purpose in life? And so if you know what your purpose is, that can help you then, create the path that you want to make sure everything you do is in line with that purpose. But dreams are also vitally important because the dreams are the fuel that will fuel you to get you going. And I notice with a lot of people, they try to downplay the importance of the dreams because they think the dreams is too much fluff. They think the dreams is too materialistic. But the purpose of the dream is to fuel you. And then the goal is really nothing more than a destination you're shooting for. And so as Canfield was kind of covering all this stuff in his audio series, he says, most of the times you go to goal setting seminars and they'll talk about, staying focused on your purpose, identifying your dream and setting some goals and then making a commitment toward those goals and then making a game plan and then focus on the steps that you have to focus on to accomplish the goal. And he says that's where the problem hits you is that if you've got so many things in your life that have you going 90,000 different directions, you'll never focus. And I remember when he was telling me when I was listening to this audio series, I probably listened to it probably 50 times. It was crazy because and I remember many years ago when I was in high school, I was playing golf and I broke my driver. When I was teeing off. Now I'm a senior in high school and I break my driver teeing off with a band director who was real good buddies of mine. He bowled, my dad owned a bowling alley, and so I actually bowled on the teacher's team. So even though he was the band director, he's a buddy of mine. So he threw me his driver. He said, "Hey, Jeff, go ahead and use mine." And so I used it. By the time I got done golfing, he was not, he was no longer in the clubhouse. So I never got that driver back to him. So anytime I would drive by a golf course, I would be thinking, "Oh, I got to get that driver back to Denny." Well, I was in my 30s, and I still had that driver in my, I didn't use it anymore, but I still had it. But every time I drove by a golf course, the first thing he said, "I still got Denny's driver." And so I was listening to Canfield talk about, you got to clean up your past. You got to get your attention units freed up so you can focus and you can have something else to put on those pegs. He says, "You got to clean that up." So then I called up Denny and I said, "Hey, Denny," he said, "this is crazy, but probably, 10, 15 years ago, you gave me a driver to use." He said, "Oh, don't worry about it." Well, the minute I called Denny and I cleaned it up, okay, then all of a sudden, never again when I drove by a golf course did I think I had a driver to get back to Denny, because I cleaned that attention unit up. I cleared that peg. Well, and Canfield also said, he said, too many guys have so many past incompletes. They've done things that they shouldn't have done, and they haven't gone back and apologized to somebody. So is germinating inside of them. He said, a lot of guys, you haven't balanced your doggone checkbook. You got taxes you got to clean up on. And Canfield said, you're never going to accomplish great things in life unless you clean up your attention units or your pegs, so you can have pegs so you can focus on. And so the first thing I'm going to recommend y'all do is y'all need to go back and you need to see what things you need to clean up on, what things in the past you need to clean up on so you can get it done. And in fact, as one of the things Canfield said, he said, you need to clean up your bedroom. You need to clean up your desk. You need to go through and do it, delegate it, or dump it. He said, get rid of all the clutter in your life. He said, because if you got all this clutter, he says, it takes away the focus and the attention that you got to put on your objectives. And so I think this is probably going to help a whole lot of people if you just start to realize that you got stuff that you need to clean up on. Everybody's been trying to figure out how to become successful. For most people, they got so many past incompletes that they never ever have time to focus on the present, what they need to focus on now, and give it 100% of their attention, because they don't have any attention units that freed up. All their pegs are full. So that's the first thing I'm going to recommend. Clean up the clutter. Any wrongs that you've done, somebody call them up and apologize to them. Clean it up so you have attention pegs that you can start to focus on what needs to get focused on to accomplish your goals and dreams. So once you're focused on that, well then in the same process of importance is you got to have a purpose. And too often what happens is most people get involved in network marketing without a purpose. They get involved with network marketing from the job world. In the job world, you really don't need a purpose because you work and you get paid. So you're performing a task or service, and they're paying you for that. And so you work, get paid. So it really, it's not necessary to have a purpose to get a job. But if you want to do great things in your life, you got to have a purpose. You got to know what's your purpose, and stay on purpose. Always do everything on purpose. And so if it doesn't line up with your purpose, then you got to, what you'll find out is you're just basically spinning plates. And so one of the things I had to figure out, well, what's my purpose? And I really truly believe that my purpose is to help keep our country free, to help create a beacon of prosperity for the world. And so everything I do has got to be done to help the common person become uncommonly wealthy, because it's a common person that's going to be the beacon of freedom for the world. And so we got to and this is me, that's my purpose. Okay. Now somebody else they'll have another purpose, and that's that, they want to help people. Somebody else has a purpose. They want to be the best mom. Their purpose is to be, the best parent they can be. So whatever your purpose is, you got to know what your purpose is. And then all of a sudden that gives you more meaning. Purpose has more power than a dream. Purpose purpose. It gives you the foundation you can build everything on. But if all you have a purpose without a dream, you'll lack fuel. You've got to have fuel that will keep you moving, and that's where the dreams come in. The purpose of a dream, okay, is to give you the fuel that you can stay motivated long enough to become who you need to become, so you can accomplish your purpose in life. And so what I kind of like to tell people, hey, take out a sheet of paper, start writing down things you'd like to have. Start off, things that cost $100. Just write a bunch of little things down, and then between $100 and $1,000, $1,000 and $5,000. Just write down all these things you'd like to have. Don't think about it. Is it is it a proper dream? Okay. It was like, for example, if your kids might need braces, but you think, man, I'd love to have a Corvette. Okay. Well, getting a Corvette and you can't pay, your utility bill, that would not be economically smart. But the dream of having a Corvette is good. The dream of something that excites you. Okay. The purpose of the dream is to give you fuel, to give you energy. Okay. In fact, on my wall, I got a little saying that says, without dreams, you're uninspired. Without goals, you lack direction. Without an action plan, you're frustrated. Without discipline, you have chaos. Discipline with accountability. And that without rewards, you lack belief. Without belief, you lack power. The dreams are all involved. The dreams are the fuel that's individual for you. And again, be careful who you share your dreams with. Okay, the purpose of the dream is to fuel you. Okay, and so write down these things, and and you need to have some dreams that take your breath away. Okay, because there's going to come a point in time where like you're tired. There's so much stuff going on in your life, and you're almost at the point you just don't know. But if you don't have that dream that will take your breath away, you'll stay home. You'll turn on the TV and you won't do anything. You'll just do what average people do. Okay, and I want you to realize something: the common person who can become uncommonly wealthy, all that common person has done what average people aren't willing to do. Successful people are not successful because they've done great things. Successful people have made a habit of doing what unsuccessful people don't like to do. And the things that unsuccessful people don't like to do are the same things that successful people don't like to do. But the reason the successful person will do them is that there's a reason why. Once you know why, you'll figure out how. Everybody's, and I sit down, I talk with people, and we just launched a brand new product, a colostrum product, and it's an awesome product, okay? And I went through it, man. The more I read about it, the more research I've done, the more I talked with all the doctors, and 25,000 clinical studies. It's crazy. It's an awesome product, but that ain't going to motivate you, okay? What's going to motivate you is your dream, okay? Whatever that dream is. Okay, you use the products to help people get their dreams. The purpose of your existence, that's what gives you the foundation and the structure and the stability to give validity to your dream. Because if all you're doing is trying to acquire things without a purpose in life, it becomes pretty frugal. It's not frugal. It becomes pretty it's frivolous. It's nothing, because all that can be taken from you. The dream is the fuel. So you got the purpose, which is the structure, it's the substance, it's the stability, it's the meaning of life. Then the dreams are the fuel. So the dreams, you got all these dreams written down. Then you got to have a goal. A goal is nothing but a target. A goal is something you shoot at. Okay, and then as you set that goal and say, okay, here, I got this. Let's just say, like in my case, my purpose is to be a beacon of free enterprise for the world. To help more people become prosperous, that we can change and make this world a better place. That's my purpose. So everything I do for that purpose. Well, I've got a dream, and so let's just say, for example, I got a dream that I want to take my whole family to Disney World. Okay, not just my kids and the grandkids, but I'm talking about I want to take everybody to Disney World. Okay, now here's the questions you have to ask yourself about a dream. What it is that you want. I want to take my whole family to Disney World. Second question is, why do you want it? See, if you don't know why you want the dream, it's not really a dream, it's just a wish. Okay? And dreams and wishes are completely, they're not the same thing. Wishes are, I wish I had this, I wish I had this. Dreams are, I want this, and here's why I want it. Okay? I remember when Linda and I were younger, and again, my background before I got into and made a lot of money in network marketing, I owned some retail stores. And when you're in the retail business, you're always putting all your money back in the stores. So we'd buy a store, we'd put all our money in, buy a store. We didn't have any lifestyle, okay? Because we're building assets. And I had an old junky car. And one day my wife was taking my son to school, and he asked Linda to drop him off a couple blocks from school because he was embarrassed about our car. At that point in time, I decided my dream was I needed to get a new car because I wanted my son to feel good about me. I wanted my son to look at me as being a hero. That's why I want it. Now again, is that selfish? Absolutely. And here's the thing I think most people miss. Most people, they listen to people who don't have a clue, and they try to tell you selfish dreams are bad. Selfish dreams are the only dreams that move you. You ain't going to do something for somebody else because it makes them feel, because it's what they want. You will only do what you want. Everything we do is because it's something that we want. So I had to get a new car. Why do I want it? Because I wanted my son to feel good about himself, and my son to feel good about me. I wanted my son to feel proud that hey, my family is winning. That's the why. So I knew what I wanted. I knew why I wanted it. And then here's the next thing. I had to know how I was going to feel when I got it. I had to know how cool I was going to feel when I drove up to school and dropped my kids off in a brand new Cadillac. And once you know what you want, why you want it, how you feel when you're going to get it, then you got a dream. Then once you got that dream, then all you got to do is set a goal, and a goal is nothing more than a target to shoot at. And anybody that tells you that you got to have a date on the goal, they don't quite understand goal setting. Goal is the target. Okay, I could set up a bullseye, and I could give you a bow and arrow, and I'd say, here's our goal. Our goal is to have you put that arrow in the target, to put it in the center of the target. That's our goal. The date is not, that's part of the game plan. So I think here's what happens with goal setting. Most people say, well, I don't know how to set goals because I don't know how to put a time frame on it. The goal is, here's for example, I knew what I had to do. Here's another good little dream. When my wife and I, when we got married, I told my wife I was going to take her to Hawaii. We were married for 10 years, and the only vacation we ever took up to that point in time, again, got realized I was building stores, and all of our money's going back into the businesses. The only vacation we ever took is where we had a relative. And then all of a sudden, the company that I was with in the network marketing, they had a vacation, a free vacation to Hawaii, but you had to hit a certain level. And I want you to realize this. I had been in network marketing at that point in time for 10 years, had not made a dime. Okay. Now I kind of like the atmosphere. I love the free enterprise and the attitudes of the people. So I'd go to the meetings, and it's costing me money. I was listening to the audios. I was reading the books, going to meetings, not making any money, having fun. And all of a sudden they had this vacation to Hawaii. All of a sudden that became what I wanted. Now, here's why I want it. I want it because I want my wife to look at me as, hey, I want Linda to be proud of me. I wanted Linda to look at me and say, oh gosh, Jeff, thank you. I wanted to feel more like I did what I told Linda I was going to do. So I set the goal. This September 21, I set the goal that I was going to win this vacation to Hawaii. Now, you got to realize I've been in network marketing for 10 years, not made a dime. September 21, they launched this goal, and I had to be at a certain level by December 31st. Okay, and not once had I ever come close to even scratching the scratch of the volume that was required to get to by December in 10 years. But I had to dream. My dream was I'm taking Linda to Hawaii, and I read enough books. I went through. It's like when you take an affirmation, you back with an emotion, then you magnetize a thought impulse, and then you just have faith and you move towards it. You never let any seeds of doubt come in. And so I said, okay, I'm winning that vacation to Hawaii. I win that vacation to Hawaii. I win that vacation to Hawaii. Make a long story short, in June I was taking Linda to Hawaii. Everything paid for. The dream was to go to Hawaii. Okay, why did I want it? Okay, because I promised Linda I was going to take her to Hawaii. And how was I going to feel going to get it? I was going to feel like I was the hero. Okay, the goal was I had to get certain volume level. Okay, and then I just went at it. Went at it. And then the game plan. Here every week my game plan changed. Every week I had a different date. Okay, the goal didn't change. The goal was the volume. Okay, the goal never changed. The game plan changed. The date changed. Okay, well, I want to be here by here. Okay, the first week that didn't work. Guess what? I'm still going to Hawaii. I'm still going to get that volume. Change the game plan. So if you have a purpose that you're willing to give your life for, if you got a dream that will motivate you, if you got something you want to have that you can't get doing what you're doing, and it's a burning desire, and you would skin dive for rooter to get it, what it is, why you want it, how you feel you're going to get it, okay, and then you visualize it, you affirm it, and then you start acting in faith, you start moving towards it. See, everybody wants proof before they do it. Everybody says, okay, well, I don't know what to do. Well, just do something. So you got to realize your subconscious mind, they'll give you the path to attainment if you just let it know where you want to go. See, for the average person, they get involved with network marketing, never made a lot of money in this industry, and then we tell them, hey, here's what you need to do. You need to go up and you need to do this. Well, they will say, well, how's this all work? If you got to figure it all out before you start, then don't do this. Okay? Then go keep doing your job, because your job, you'll work and get paid, work and get paid, work and get paid. We're trying to teach you how to do something bigger. Okay, so I didn't understand how I was going to create all this volume in 3 months. All I knew is that I was going to Hawaii. And if I would tell you the magic that happened, I had hunches come to me to call people. I had people that I invited. I had one guy that scared the kajeebies out of me, because he was really, really big up in the political world, and I knew I needed to call him, but I just never called him, and he calls me. Okay, all these things come together. What you'll realize, that once you have made the determination that that dream is yours, period, nothing can stop you. Nothing's going to stop you. Then the path comes. But it only comes after you have proven to the subconscious mind that that dream is real. And you got to picture this. I'm driving a Dodge Dart, okay, and I got a dream of driving a Cadillac. So my subconscious mind, I visualize myself driving this Cadillac, and I get my Dodge Dart, go off to work. Okay, well, 1 second, my subconscious mind sees me driving this Cadillac. Next time it sees me driving the Dodge Dart. All of a sudden, I visualize, see me driving a Cadillac, see me driving the Dodge Dart. Well, all of a sudden, the subconscious mind starts going nuts. It said, hey, dude, which one is real? You're driving me crazy. And here's what happens. The minute you tell the subconscious mind which one is real, it will give you the path to accomplish it, because it cannot live in that state of having two different realities. And what the subconscious mind needs to see is, which one are you moving towards? Okay? And the one you're moving towards is the one it deems to be real, and then it's going to say, okay, do this, do this, do this. And that's when the hunches come. Act on the hunches. Sometimes the hunches come so you can show faith that the dream is real. Sometimes the hunches come, and that is the path. I acted on every hunch that came my way. I had no fear. Okay, guys, this is way before the internet. This is way before cell phones. I would go into a town. I'd go up and down the street and say, hey, my name is Jeff Beavers. We're in the process of expanding an operation in this market, looking for a couple key players to help us with the development phases, looking for some management type people, like professional people, looking for just 2 or 3 people, kind of like, directors of a bank type of a personality. Who can you think of? And I would go business to business to business to business, because I didn't care. And all of a sudden, did any of that work out? Did any of that get me anything? Not really. But you know what happened? 3 months later, I was going to Hawaii. Those were all acts of faith. I think what happens is everybody wants to they want to treat network marketing like it's a dumb job. In a job, you work and get paid. That's the way jobs work. You work and get paid, so you get network marketing and say, well, I want to get paid. I want to go off and do something and get paid. That's not how this works, because we're helping you become something beyond who you are today. You first have to become who you need to become before you can get what you want. So you have to be willing to work. You have to be willing to have your compensation withholden from you, so you can have the residual effect of the income that you're really looking for. So as you're setting out and you're setting some goals up, you got to have a purpose. You got to have a dream that's going to take your breath away. And I look at the small dreams too. Again, if you look at my little chart, again, it says, without rewards, you lack belief. You got to have little dreams so you can reward yourself along the way. Maybe one of your dreams is maybe you like to go to movies. Well, guess what? They're only $20, $25 to go to movies. So don't go to a movie till you hit a little stepping stone goal. So those rewards will build belief. And as you look at it, it says, without belief, you lack power. So see, sometimes people say, well, I'm not going to reward myself until I accomplish the big dream. No, set small goals, take your small dreams and reward yourself for those small steps, and that will give you power. Because now the subconscious mind's thinking, okay, hey, listen, all I had to do is make 10 phone calls. All I had to do is send out 200 emails. All I had to do is do this, and I got this. Well, if I did this and I got this, I can get that house. I can get that car. I can be financially free. So the key is you got to get your subconscious mind convinced that your dreams are real. And the minute your subconscious mind is convinced your dreams are real, the path to attain them will come to you. I can't tell you what you need to do to get your dreams, because they're your dreams. I can tell you the math. I can tell you, in fact, if we look at our spreadsheet, I can tell you the math. I can tell you that if you set up, 3 people that average $150 a month worth of purchases, and they each set up 10 customers that average $25 a month, $25 a month, I can tell you that's going to make you $700,000 a year, but that don't do anything for you. That's just math, okay? I can tell you that if you set up 5 people, you'll make a lot of money, but that's just math. Well, you have to figure out what is your purpose. You got to clean up your past. You got to get those attention units available. You got to get those pegs freed up so you can start hanging stuff on them. So you always focus on this, always keeping your attention units open. So when you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you see something you didn't see before, all of a sudden you hear something you didn't hear before, the reticular system starts to go into work for you because it knows its goal is to get you to your dream. So you got to have a purpose that gives you structure, foundation, and substance. You got to have a dream that takes your breath away. You got to know what it is, why you want it, how you feel, and you're going to get it. And then you got to set a goal. And the goal I kind of tell everybody in network marketing is simply this: get 3. Get 3 people who will do whatever they have to do to get their dreams. Get 3. You get 3 and you will be free. And then what do you do with those 3? You teach them to do the same thing. Get 3. This network marketing is structurally this: get 3. Get 3 and you'll be free. Yeah, and the more you get, the more money you can make, but everybody can get 3. Okay? Everybody can get 3. So I look for people who are willing to admit they don't know everything. It's crazy, but I get all these people, and again, they come to you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, and I'm sure they've done well. Okay, well, my goal is I want to help you set up a 6-figure income for not only you and not only your kids, but your kids' kids. I want to help you go off and set 3 of your friends up or 6 of your friends up with a 6-figure residual ongoing income. Now, obviously, I'm not making any guarantees of income, just an example of income based on the comp plan. Your success could be dependent upon what you do. You've got to do this crazy disclaimer stuff because I don't want anybody thinking you're going to get rich just by getting into this. You will 100% always produce that which you see yourself as. We have a psychologically, we'll always act in a manner that's consistent with how we see ourselves conceptually. So therefore, if you see yourself as everything you touch turns to gold, everything you touch will turn to gold. The challenge is most of us don't see ourselves that way. Most of us see ourselves as, and we struggle. Most of us, for example, if you, and anymore we don't write checks, but back in the old days, we'd write a check and we get the notification, we bounce to check. Okay, then we spend the next 3 weeks trying to figure out, man, how do we bounce the check, blah, 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 and we spend all our time focused on bouncing the check. Well, understand if that's what you're focusing on, that's what you're drawn towards, and what do? You bounce more checks. So as we start teaching people how to change their psychic and how to think different, okay, and a lot of times you'll discover as the more you get into the development of success, that again, some of the psychiatrists would tell you that the child becomes parent to the adult. So because you were treated a certain way when you were a child, now that you're an adult, okay, now all of a sudden now you act a certain way. Well, you're not stuck with you. Between stimuli and response is a thing called choice. You are not stuck with you. How do you change? You change by changing your dream. You change by changing your visualization. You change by affirming and visualizing and acting. And it seems like you got to realize motion creates emotion. Okay, don't wait for emotion to come over you. Create the emotion by acting. As I told people, say my wife and I, we've been married for 39 years, and they say, how do you stay married for 39 years? Every day I act like I love her. Okay, every day I act like I love her, and if you act like you love someone, you end up loving them. So if you want to become successful, just act like you're successful, and if you keep acting a certain way, you'll start to become a certain way. It's motion creates emotion. Guys, I probably rambled here a little bit. The goal here tonight was to get you thinking like an entrepreneur, to help you become successful. All you need is 3. 3 people can change your life. You have to first become one, okay? You have to become one. Clean up your past. Get those attention units available. Understand and know what your purpose is. Get a dream. Know what it is, why you want it, how you feel you're going to go get it, and then set a goal. The goal to get 3. And that's the goal. And again, when I tell people the goal is I'm looking for 3 people that will lock arms with me, that will partner up, and nobody's going to stop us. Nobody's going to stop us. Then what are we going to do? Our goal is we're going to help you get 3. We're going to get 3 people to lock arms with you, no matter what it is. That nobody's going to stop us. We're going to help them get 3. Once you understand the math of network marketing, you'll start to realize all these affiliate marketers have been teaching you how to basically sell stuff. Network marketing is a method of making money where a lot of people all do a little bit of business. And the best way to get a whole lot of people to all do a little bit of business is just get a few people yourself and teach them to get a few. You get 3 who get 3 and run it down through 7 levels. You got over 3,000 people. They each set up 10 customers. You got over 13,000 people. You have that's enough money that can change you not only for your life, but for your kids' life and your kids' kids. It just will keep going. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here.